in the middle of this. Kristie, tell us about where you are right now, and you've spoken to protesters. What are you hearing?
George, what started as an authorized planned rally in the central part of Hong Kong has morphed and fanned out into a decentralized, unauthorized march and protest all across the city. You have a very tense situation in Sheung-wan. That's where my colleague Anna Corin and her team is, where tear gas reportedly is being deployed. We also had marchers and protesters fan out to Wan Chai, and where I am here in Causeway Bay. This is the busiest shopping district in Hong Kong, and this is one of the busiest intersections in Hong Kong, if not all of Asia. And yet for the last few hours, we have seen the shops here close down, the pedestrians and shoppers go home, and the protesters move out here in force. I want to show you the barricades have been moving in. This is an example of a barricade that was moved in earlier. They use spanners, metal spanners, to dig up the metal fencing, and then zip lines to create this barricade here. And this is a decentralized protest movement. There is no leader. In fact, when you talk to the protesters wearing the hard hats, wearing the black T-shirts and the protective gear made out of recycled plastic and saran wrap covering their arms and their legs, and ask them who is leading them, they say no one. And you ask them, how did they find out that they should come here? They say the internet, communication boards and groups, or Telegram, the encrypted messaging app. Earlier, I spoke to a number of protesters to get a sense of what's going to be happening, what they're doing. This is what they had to say. What's happening now, and what's going to happen next?
We're now saving Hong Kong, and we are coming out to voice our wants, our thoughts, and we want our government to respond us.
How is this going to save Hong Kong? I see barricades coming in. Are you preparing for pitched battles with the police?
No, we're protecting ourselves. We're setting some barriers to avoid police to coming and attack us.
How did you learn that this was happening, and who was organizing this?
No one organizing this. Every Hong Kongers in Hong Kong is coming out by themselves, and no one asking them to come out.
How did you get the news? How did you get the alert?
The internet.
A theme that you constantly hear from protesters who have gathered here is that they are here for protection. They're wearing these masks to hide themselves and to hide their identities from CCTV cameras. Also, they're bringing gas masks to protect themselves if the police were to arrive, and to deploy tear gas or to deploy pepper spray. I asked them if they're here for pitched battles, to expect some sort of urban guerrilla warfare in the streets with the police. They say, no, we're here for freedom. We're here to demand our rights. We want the end of the extradition bill. We want universal suffrage. We're here to stand our ground. That is the theme that we're hearing this evening. And in Causeway Bay, this is an area that has been taken over by the protesters. And because of events this day, unlawful marches fanning out spontaneously across the city, this has opened up a brand new chapter in this long, hot summer protest in Hong Kong. Previously, the protest organizers would apply for permission. Permission would be granted. Residents in Hong Kong would be able to know where they can go to either participate or avoid certain areas. Now there's a feeling that these protests can erupt spontaneously anywhere. Back to you.
Kristie Lu Stout, stand by with us. I do want to take the image that's just to the side of you in full, because what we're seeing right now, Kristie, to describe it for you, because I know that this is a different location than where you are now, but we're seeing police certainly in armed gear, with riot gear, moving forward, moving ahead, it seems, toward a group of protesters right now. And a second ago, we saw what seemed to be tear gas in the streets. A lot of tear gas being used right now. What do you expect here as far as what you're hearing from protesters? Is there a sense that they are going to stay there no matter what? Is there a sense that the protesters may start to, leave, that the numbers we're seeing may start to diminish a bit?
In fact, a number of protesters here, when we heard that things were kicking off in Sheung-wan, in that part of Hong Kong, very close to where the China Liaison Office is, which is the top representative body of the Chinese central government, a number of protesters decided to go there to participate in that, but a number of protesters have decided to stay here to protect the turf here, to make their voices heard here in anticipation of who knows what could happen next. But it's those scenes that are playing out on your screen of the police responding with tear gas, with pepper spray. That is what has been galvanizing this protest movement. We saw that forceful police operation, clearance operation, clear tens of thousands of marchers off the streets in Yuen Long in the far north of Hong Kong yesterday, using pepper spray, using tear gas, using rubber bullets. There was that bloody standoff in the train station in Yuen Long where blood was spilled on the floor of the train station, and this was a result of this very forceful police operation. We heard from the police earlier. They said 11 people had been arrested as a result of those clashes and that unlawful march. We also heard from the Hong Kong Hospital Authority that 24 people were injured. They were hospitalized as a result of yesterday's clashes. The Hong Kong police adding that 4 people were police officers who were injured. But it was that type of forceful police response that you have human rights groups like Amnesty International also condemning it, calling it heavy-handed. That's galvanizing people to come out in the streets, holding up signs saying that they want the world to know about the behavior of the Hong Kong police and that this public institution has lost the trust of many people here in the territory. George.
Kristie Lu Stout live for us. And again, Kristie, you are right now at a location that really is a very important shopping district, correct?
Yes, this is Causeway Bay. We could turn around here. It's a very iconic part of Hong Kong. One of the busiest shopping districts in Hong Kong, if not all of Asia. This intersection is usually jam-packed with pedestrians, with shoppers, with visitors, Hong Kongers going out to dinner, going out to do their shopping because stores here are usually open quite late. But once the protesters had that change of tack and switched from that peaceful, lawful rally in Central and then engaged in that spontaneous, unlawful march fanning across Hong Kong, a group decided to come here. That's when we saw the storefronts start to shut down. The stores around here are shut down. The protesters have moved in. They have been very busy forming what they call these umbrella lines, these lines of people. It's very fascinating to watch. On both sides holding up umbrellas, letting barricades come through, holding up the umbrellas not because of the weather, it hasn't been raining today, but to shield them from the prying eyes of drones or CCTV cameras. This is an anonymous, decentralized, leaderless, some would call it urban guerrilla warfare movement. There is no leader, and yet they are clearly organized. Someone could be working on a barricade. They don't have zip lines. They will call a zip line using English, using Cantonese, using the hand sign language for it. And someone else from a block down would say, we got it over here. And they start working together in groups. We have another group of protesters coming in with a garbage can that they procured to be used as part of a barricade. This is a scene in downtown Causeway Bay tonight as they prepare for what they call defensive action ahead of Hong Kong police potentially moving in. We'll keep tabs on the situation for you, George.
Kristie Lu Stout live.